exercise 3.11 is going to give us an opportunity to use the case switch statement of the Java language. Our objective is to write a program, and as I read the exercise I'm going to fill in here the blanks for the comment section. Okay, write a program which is going to read from user a year plus month number. Okay, so for example you are going to read the year 2000 and the month 2007, and the month number will be 1 for January, etc. So that's going to be our first task. Second task is going to be determine numbers of days in that month and year, of course. So this is going to allow us to put into application also what we already learned to do about determining if whether a year is a leap year or not for February. And then finally, display numbers of days in that month. Oops, that month. Okay, so let's start by the easy part. Okay, scanner s equal new scanner system.in. S equal, well, we're going to start by reading, let's say, the year. Next, int year equal next int, and a little message here, enter year. Okay, so we are done with one. Now the next one, system.out.print enter month, and I'm going to specify here 1 for January, suspension mark. Okay, double quotes, int month equal s dot next int parenthesis, and I quote here little typo again. There we go. So we have a year, we have a month. At the end we are going to do system.out.print ln, and what we would like to do is to say, well, the month name, February, January, etc., followed by the year, has X days. Okay? Alright, right now, to transform the number corresponding to a month that was entered by the user to the name of a month is going to be a little tricky with what we know of Java so far. So instead of doing it here, we are going to assume that the previous part, determining the number of days in that month, is going to do that for us, and we are going to use a huge switch statement to do so. So we are going to assume that this part display already for us on the screen, for example, February 2007 space, and we are going to follow up on that by saying as, and then, well, let's call it like days plus days. So the variable days that I just figured out I would need here is going to contain how many days there is in a month, in that specific month. So I'm going to declare it here. Alright, so now my job here is not only to determine the number of days in that month, but also to do a little bit of display. So we are going to organize this with a switch statement. Switch month. Now, depending on the value given to me for month, for example, case 1, that means January, I'm going to display system.out.print January, followed by the year that was entered by the user. Okay, so I could even simplify that, because since for every month I'm going to have to display the year, I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it here. So I'm going to start by displaying the year, which will follow with the display of the display of the month here. So the month will be printed here, then I'm going to display the year and say has the number of days that I computed. If I am in the case of January, what is the number of days? Well, January has always 31 days, no matter if we are in a leap year or anything. And then I break out of this case. And then I can consider case number 2. Okay, case number 2 is going to be February. This one is going to be a little special. So before to go to case number 2, let me get rid of the easy cases. Okay, case number 3, for example. Case number 3 is going to be March. So I can display here March. March as always 31 days. Then case number 4, and this is really cut and paste here that I'm doing, okay? April always have 30 days. There are other ways that we could have written this program, okay? I will assure you, if you are thinking about something else, you're probably right, actually. I'm going for the straightforward approach with a giant switch statement. So we have January, we skip February, March, April, May, which is 31 days, I mean. And I'm going to keep doing this. So case 5, case is going to be 6. I'm going to lay out all of my cases and then I'll come back to fill them up. Case 7, case 8, case 9, case 10, all cut and paste, case 11, and I'm now at case 12. Okay, I have my 12th month. One good thing done. Now, I go back to where I stopped, May. Okay, let's change the name first. June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. So we have now 31 by default for every month. I'm going back to May. June is 30 days. July is 31. August is 31 as well. September is 30. October is 31. November is 30. And December is 31. So I'm done dealing with all the basic cases. Okay, well, let's save, let's compile, and let's test it. So Java C, exercise 311.java. Oops, little typo here. Java C. One error. Variable system not found. Well, I would bet so. Yeah. Let's go back up here. System.in, and you see how the coloration changes actually. So let's recompile this again. Variable days might not have been initialized when I'm using int line 55. Going back to the code, my variable days has been declared here, but it has not been initialized indeed. So I'm initializing it here, and that should make the compiler happy. The reason for that error, let me open a parenthesis here, is that you have a variable days that you do not initialize here. Okay, I just initialized it, but it was not originally initialized. Then you have a switch. Well, what happens if you do not enter any case of the switch? What happens if the month is 13? Well, for the sake of simplicity, we expected our user to give us a right value for the month. But if the user gives us 13, for example, we do not enter any of those cases. Therefore, the variable days would not be assigned any value. Therefore, when I try to use it here, there could be a problem. So this is what the compiler was complaining about. Now, I fixed this problem. It works. Let's now run it. 311. Enter the year 2007. Enter the month, January. January has 31 days. And you can see that here it's not really neat because I do not go to the next line after I finish my display. So I'm going to fix that. But first, before to fix that, let me try a couple of different months. Enter the year 12. Well, okay, little typo here. 31 days for December as well. Let me pick one in the middle. 2007 this time. 3. March has 31 days. Okay, we are good. So let's go back now to our code, and what I need to do here is do a print ln so that I go to the next line. Well, I've been getting rid of the easy cases. Now let's go back and tackle the case of February. So what is hard with February? well, depending on whether we are a leap year or not, we are going to have a different value. So I still can do my printout February space, no problem with that. But now the value for days is going to depend on what? Well, depend on whether we are a leap year or not. So this was already the topic of a previous exercise, so you can reuse the code that you developed for that exercise. If year is a multiple of 400, so that means modulo 400 for the variable year is equal to 0, or year modulo 4, I'm going to add my parentheses here, year is a multiple of 4, so modulo 4 equal 0, and year modulo 100 is different than 0. So these are the two cases we have, right? So I'm going to add parentheses around all of this. The first case is year modulo 400 is equal to 0. So that qualifies as a leap year. The second case is, or we have year modulo 4 is actually true and year modulo 100 is actually true. So I'm going to parenthesize. I'm probably putting too many parentheses here. I am for sure. But this makes the code a lot more readable. Okay? So this is my first condition. And if this condition is true, I'm going to do days is assigned. So we are in a leap year, so that's going to be 29 days. I'm closing my curly brace, else, open curly brace, close curly brace, days is going to be assigned 28 days. Okay, I save. Let me go back to Conqueror. We're going to compile this, and we're going to test this time February. For sake of regression testing, I should test all over month, but in that case I'm going to let you do that, and I'm going to focus on February since I modified only case 2 in my code. Execute this. We are in 2007. This is February. We have 28 days. Let me run this again. 2008, February. We have 29 days. So I'm going back to the code, and we are pretty much done with this exercise.